when the witch trials return to this fair land, as they do periodically and without warning, you're going to pick me to be the catalytic converter, the sparker of the fuse. When you need someone to be the first accuser, you're gonna want me then. My name is Sarah, just like the beggar witch of Salem. I wasn't there in Massachusetts, or 1787, Philadelphia, or at Salem too, in the 1800s. But I remember the McCarthy hearings from the 1950s, and I saw a play by the Miller man, who married Marilyn Monroe for a spell of enchantment. And I lived and worked in Manhattan Beach. Yes, I did, in the 80s. And I was there when the last witch trial erupted in America, at the school where I had a job teaching English, the language of Shakespeare and Joyce, and yes, and oh, yes, and it was my first job out of school. I was so young then. And now I'm so old. Now I think I must be almost 70. Once, for a time, I was a respected member of society. I was a respectable member of society. Well, that's my long day's journey into night, neatly summarized. The little witches didn't think I belonged. You didn't think I belonged. Believe the children. I know all about it. Believe the children. Believe the grandmother. That's my slogan. Believe the grandmother. She can divine witches among us. You are aware that no one was convicted of anything, right? We were all of us, everyone, acquitted of everything. Every ridiculous charge. We got a begrudging pseudo-apology to accompany our tainted innocence. But you don't have to be guilty to be ruined. Just ask the other Sarahs, or Tituba, or all the faceless, blameless slaves who confessed in order to be saved. Ask the deaf lady drowned in the well, her wild animal screams confirming suspicions of the secret spirit lodged in her untrustworthy female breast, now safely put to rest. The schoolgirls who testified to fantastic flyaways on airplanes, taking them to where our satanic rituals were allegedly conducted, those girls were roomless. Very different than blameless, mind you. Yet still, they could author aerial adventures like those Salem girls on their pitchforks. Believe the children. believe the children because they could fly? There's a fine line I have found between magic and mental illness. I have found the fine line. I have found out that I have been found to suffer from various maladies. I have a diagnosis. Most of us do in this encampment beneath the porte cochere. Do you know that word, dear? It's my pet name for the 101 overpass. Overhead. Above my head. Above our heads. Concrete. That's hard to sleep on. And harder still to fully comprehend. When the witch trials happen again, they'll be triggered by a kind of viral, highly contagious form of mental illness. The California schoolgirls and the Salem witches had a disorder, the symptoms of which correspond with what Freud called hysteria and what they now call conversion disorder, which is when powerlessness manifests itself as disease. Most women have it. A sickness in every cell membrane, a society rotting inside every uterus. The original witch-killing Puritans sought to see the devil, and so it was the devil they saw. The current iteration of Puritans, the ones who put me here, and the ones I know who frequent the finer soup kitchens, prefer to express what can't be said comfortably with language in passive-aggressive acting out. We sometimes call fits. Now, history has shown us that fits of all manner get heard more than mere words in times when those without power become profoundly ill from profound lacking. Look around you. That's Mike with the dreadlocks, the ones screaming and chopping. He is most definitely possessed of great confidence in his ability to conjure ghosts. He's yelling and heaving imprecations at the devil, yet you would not be wrong if someone asked you to point to the man in this street who most appears to be mentally ill. Believe the grandmother. She can divine witches among us. And Mike is a witch. And so am I. This was not a vocation or an avocation or a hobby I envisioned. I was going to be a teacher. God meant for me to teach. I was teaching when it happened. You know the mother who started the mendacity boulder rolling down the hill was sick, right? The one who said her girl had been molested, disturbed. She was disturbed. It's in the trial records. She was paranoid schizophrenic, the Johnson woman. And according to the doctor who signed my papers, apparently I am now too. I inherited her sickness. I was society's sponge sopping up the mess. And this is my thanks. This here is my thanks. Urine stench, constant itchiness. You are welcome. You are most welcome. Welcome to my world. It's been awfully lonely without you. Witches have special powers, you know. That's why we're more frightening than the average woman, who of course has always been and shall forevermore be terrifying by dint of being a woman. Witches can see what you prefer to think is not there. All the evil, devil, Luciferian, Mephistophelian energies hastily consigned to other people's nightmares and then safely out of sight. Like the clothes clogging your closet, the hand-me-downs that can't be handed down any lower, the sweatpants from the sweatshop you dump outside the mission in a brown paper bag. To me and Mike and Robbie and Chris, and I dare say a plenitude of perpetual bystanders here on the sidelines of life, we see quite clearly whatever you're rushing to escape in your climate-controlled, armored, rolling fortress, impotent to protect yourself from what you accept. Now, isn't that frightening? Isn't that mortifying? All the time you're doing whatever you're doing or think you're doing to perfect your perfect life by increments. We're watching. We're unpaid observers for the UN. We're stringers for the AP. We don't need a subscription to the Times. We cannot be made to pay for grammatical errors and a general absence of credibility. We see what's going on. Like Marvin Gaye. We're doing our job. Watching. Clairvoyance of the present. Visionaries of the visions you and your families amply provide. Ginsberg said Dylan blew everyone's mind except Leonard Cohen. Then Cohen blew everyone's mind, except not really mine. Those words and stories he used so gorgeously are omnipresent, swirling in a milky star soup, circling my pointy black hat. Because there is no time. There is no time for quibbling over genius. The ordained Buddhist monk priest would say so himself. He would affirm and encourage. What Sarah sees now is what Sarah saw then, and what she will see when the trials start again. From my precarious perch on the finest of fine lines between magic and mayhem, I can report from the street what you speed past in your every day in your SUV is simultaneously preventable and inevitable. That, you see, is the tragic flaw in our flawless society. Someone has to live here like this. Might as well be the witches. They have more conversion disorder, powerlessness, disease in them than the Jews. And much less money to fight back when you come belt-looped with your plastic zip ties to round us up like livestock. Although you can't tell at this stage of my decrepitude, now I avoid mirrors, but I once was quite beautiful. I once was quite beautiful, and I had a lover, a deeply delicious boy of a man, a magnet to draw me, to trace my outlines. My lover, he told me I must be a witch. You must be a witch, he told me, because I can't get you out of my mind. What kind of concocted potion did you feed me? What doll did you pierce? He told me. Why do my thoughts return to your eyes, your smile, your curves, your skin, your smell? He told me. You must be a witch. I want you so badly. I will concentrate you into my arms, willing fantasy into reality with the repetition of prayer and belief that our very best dreams should always come true if you only believe truly enough to warrant salvation. He told me, whatever I had done to make him like this, I must be a witch. You are under my power, I told him, hypnotizing him with my gaze, melting his man armor. You are under my power, I told him. Maybe only one of us knowing the truth. He was irresistible, irresistibly attractive to a certain kind of witch, the literate type, with no talent for predicting the future or fixing the past. At the moment, I have lost most of my looks and most of my powers, yet I'm seeing the present clearly, with limpid, lucid clarity I lacked in my younger years. Now, during this chapter of my life entitled The Hunger Years, I understand what to say when a man, a beautiful, sweet, kind man, easy to love, when he tells you, I surrender, I'm yours, I humbly confess, I know what to say now. Yes. Yes, I am a witch, but I mean you no harm. I fling no curses, I boil no newts, I mean you no harm. I confess in advance, at the next interrogation, I will see clearly and speak clearly, and I will say, yes, I am a witch, and I mean you no harm. And when you drag me to the gallows or the drowning pool, and you offer me one last opportunity to repent, before the bag goes over my head, I will say, brothers and sisters, I mean you